All right, so we're live here. I'm running just a couple of minutes behind. This is not new necessarily. Let's see. And we're gonna go live over here. Good morning. Gotta make sure we can see the map. And my front door. So, hi Lindy. On YouTube, can you hear me okay? I heard it was a little weird. Not the volume necessarily, just the sound was kind of strange. So if you can let me know if that's okay over here. We're good over there. Good morning. Yeah. So Lindy actually asked me to work. Okay, so the volume's okay. Work a little bit on poses for sciatica. And just to make you aware that when you have sciatica, it's lots of fun. Hi, Sandy. And sometimes poses that feel really good, the next time you go to practice them, don't. Right? So you just have to be really patient and go very slow. I wouldn't suggest, even when they feel good, I wouldn't necessarily suggest going to your extreme, right? So sometimes forward folds feel nice, but if you go too far, they'll actually aggravate what you got going on. So just kind of keep that in your mind. And that kind of goes for everything too. Every day is different. And even if your body is feeling perfectly fine, sometimes there's just a pose that your body doesn't want for one reason or another. So yeah, that's what I got for you this morning. So schedule wise, I think this 9:30 is going to work. If you're not loving it, right, holler and we can make adjustments. I don't know what will happen with the gym at all, but so far for right now, 9:45 on Sunday mornings over on Cortez and 7 o'clock on Wednesday evenings over at the Lakewood Ranch Club. If you're an LA Fitness member, of course, right? And right now I'm not doing anything else. And we'll kind of see. We'll see where that goes. So remember, you can always find me here on YouTube. You can always find me on the Facebook Anyday Yoga Facebook page. All these classes that I'm doing are always going to be there. On the website, anydayyoga.com, there's links to these things, right? And there's some extras. I've got some meditations in there. I've got a pranayama that I just put up. So just a 5-minute quickie little thing. Don't forget, if you want to sign up for a membership, feel free. There is no pressure, of course, right? But I have a monthly membership that is $10 a month for access to other special hour-long classes. Right now, if you do a yearly membership, which is $100 for the whole year, you also get access to the Applying the 8 Limbs of Yoga workshop that I did. So that's there as well. Other than that, this is where we are. This is what we're going to do today. So make sure, as always, you are listening to your body, and let's get a nice little stretch, you guys. So come to sit on your mat. I don't have any of my lights on. I'll turn those on in a second. So align the heels to the groin here and take your inner thigh rotation. So the inner thigh down, outer thigh out of the way. We're not going to be here terribly long, but really work to keep the pelvis upright here. So lifting the pelvic floor, lower belly in and up, sitting tall through the sides, and then relaxing into your hips and your shoulders. Go ahead and close your eyes. And even imagine taking the bottom tips of your ears back until you feel the weight of your head directly over the shoulders. And then just take a moment here, just be physically present, mentally present, keeping the mind calm and quiet. Big full breaths here. And then focusing solely on the breath, let's create a yoga breath. So gently taking the inhales a little bigger and the exhales a little bit more complete. Until eventually you find that nice, full, just beyond comfortable place for the breath. Staying connected to that nice full breath. Let's go ahead and extend the arms out to the sides. With the next inhale, stretch them up toward the ceiling. And then exhale, bring them back down again. We'll do that again. And then one more time like that. Coming back to the top inhale. And exhale, just your right hand back to the mat, little tip over to that side. Taking a nice big breath here, open up the left side of the body. Inhaling as you make your way back up to the middle. And then switch over to the left. Big full breath here. Inhaling as you lift back to center. Let's take it over to the right again. And see if you can slide the hand away or maybe bend your elbow a little deeper. Extending that stretch. And then coming back up to the top. Over to the left. Same idea, a little bit deeper into the stretch. Inhale, bring it back to center. And exhale, release the arms. So sitting nice and tall, bring the left hand over to the right knee, right hand behind the back. A little easy, gentle twist to the right. Check in that you're sitting tall. See if you can relax into your hips and shoulders. Let's release that, coming back to center. Switch it over to the second side. We'll release back to the middle. Back over to that first side again. Press into your right arm, sit extra tall, pull against the knee, rotating the belly around. Turning the side ribs toward the back of the mat, open up the shoulder, look over your shoulder and see what you see back there. And then we'll release back to the middle again and take that second side. So use the arms, work a little bit deeper into your twist. Make sure you're breathing, your spine is tall. And then we're going to release that, coming back to center again. So let's make our way around onto hands and knees. Nice and even on the hands, knees under hips, belly's working here still. And then flowing with your breath on an inhale, take the belly toward the mat. And with the exhale, round the spine toward the ceiling. So just gentle in and out like that. Gently move a little bit deeper into the spine as you can. We'll go once more in each direction. And then let's find a middle. So the belly's pulled in. We're going to step either the knees back or the hands forward and shift into kneeling plank. So nice and even on the four corners of the hands. Create this neutral spine here. So the shoulders are where they would be as if when you were standing up on, just normally, right? Not sagging through or pushing away or up by the ears, right? In that neutral place. So we're going to stay on the knees for now. And then bend the elbows just enough to bring them in line with the ribs and stop and hover for a moment. Squeeze the elbows into the sides, keep the chest open, the shoulders in that neutral place, push back up. And then gently, let's sit back into a child's pose. Let's do that again. Shift forward, come into that kneeling plank again. And I know you're not thinking about your hands so much when you're thinking about your arms and your belly and your back, but as we dip, bending the elbows in line with the ribs, notice where the weight shifts in your hands. Try to keep it even. Push back up, and we'll sit back to our child's pose. So we're going to do that one more time. Come forward, bend into the elbows and hover. Stay in this nice long line, drop down to the belly. So the hands next to the side ribs here, hugging the elbows in. And the only thing the hands have to do is stay even on the mat like we set them. So keeping the elbows in, work with your breath. On the inhale, roll your shoulders up by your ears, together on your back, down towards your hip bones, and then exhale to release that. So it's just the shoulder shrug. And as the shoulders warm up a little bit, maybe you can open up a little bit deeper. But again, we're not using the hands, so don't worry about how high. Keep the tailbone turning down toward the heels. Nice long lower back. Let's go one more time like that. And then just release. So we're going to go up like we went down, which is lots of fun. So elbows stay hugged into the sides. The hands stay nice and even into the mat. Make sure you're pulling your belly in to support your back. Lift your hips just the tiniest little bit up off the floor. And then push into the hands enough to bring your ribs in line with your elbows. Push up and then all the way back into child's pose. So then instead of moving into kneeling plank again, from here, go ahead and lift up into down dog. And let yourself just move and stretch here. And then just kind of check in, making sure we're aligned. Even into the four corners of the hands, they're shoulder width apart. Feet are hip bone distance apart. Pressing the chest back if you can. Sinking the heels toward the floor, whether they touch or not. So nice and even into the four corners of the hands. Let's go ahead and lift the right leg. And then we're going to step that foot through and come into lunge. So let's drop the back knee to begin. And then we'll take the right leg straight or straight-ish. Right? So it's early. Right? Prop up if you need to prop up. Right? Shoulders down and back, belly's working. We'll bend into the knee, keeping the hips square. Lengthen through your spine. Let's bring the right hand to the hip and add in a little twist. And then release the twist. So you have the option here, of course, of leaving the left knee on the floor. If you want to lift it away from the floor, see about taking the right leg straight again. So making that stretch a little bit deeper if and when you're ready for it. And you can still be propped here. Let's go ahead and bend into the knee. So again, the left knee up or down, you decide. We're going to climb up on the thigh here, lifting the upper body. And bring yourself as vertical as you can. Hang on or reach up. And you can look up unless that makes you too wobbly. And then we'll release it, come back over into the lunge and step back into down dog. So then let's switch sides. Lift the left side. And then step that foot through to the hands. Coming to your lunge. And the right knee is going to start on the mat. Take the left leg straight-ish when you're ready. And always just take the time to align the body. Find the stretch. And then bend back into the knee. Keeping the hips square and your spine nice and long here. Let's bring the left hand to the hip. Rotate around. And then release the twist. And again, your right knee can be down or up. Let's take that left leg straight, or straighter than it was before anyway. Keeping the shoulders back, so make sure you're modifying. And then we'll bend back into the knee. Climb up on the thigh. Lifting the upper body, lifting the arms if and when you're ready. Remember, the right knee can be on the floor here, maybe. Big, full breath. Let's release that, come back over into your lunge. Stepping back into down dog. So then walking the feet forward, let's come to a standing fold. And we're going to start here with the feet a little wider than we normally do. So take them maybe just wider than your shoulders. Toes point forward, nice and even into the four corners of the feet. And allow yourself to just be loose and relaxed. Okay? So a little bend in the knee if you like. The hands fall where they fall. And then let's allow the arms to walk toward the right foot. So you may touch the floor, you may touch your foot, you may be touching your shin, whatever. Let your body weight sort of lean over to the right here. And then bring it back to center and walk over to the left. We'll come back to the middle then. And take the feet an extra step wider. So not super wide yet, just a little wider than before. Toes are going to point forward still. And this time we want to be and stay nice and even on the four corners of the feet. So draw the shoulders back, pull the belly in, keep the body weight where it is, and see about walking your hands over to the right again. You may or may not touch the same thing. Don't worry about that too much. Just if you feel that shift, shift it back to center. And then we're going to come back through the middle and take it to the second side. Same idea, keeping the lower body where it is and just moving the upper body. So let's come back to center again. And we're going to take the feet an extra step wider. So all on or all off your mat. You can turn sideways if that's better for you, wherever you want to be here. And again, staying nice and even and centered on the feet. We're going to take the fingertips to the floor. If they don't come to the floor, you can always prop with a block, right? Or if you need to, have a bend in your knees, but keep the knees evenly bent, right? Not one more than the other. So fingertips to the floor up underneath the shoulders, the belly's pulled in. We're going to bring the left hand kind of in the middle, so underneath your face here, and then the right hand to your hip. So work to keep the hips square and just gently turn your belly toward the right. Think turning your side ribs toward the ceiling, draw that shoulder back. And then we're going to release that and move to the second side. So the right hand underneath, the left hand to the hip, and let's rotate around. Take a big breath. And then release it back to center. So let's walk the feet back in. And then sliding the hands up to the thighs. Let's come halfway up. So parallel to the floor, you can lean as much as you need to lean. You can feel your hamstrings squeeze. Your back is definitely going to work, but make sure the belly's doing its part as well. Bend into the knees, sit back into supported chair. Hang on if you need to hang on. Keep the tailbone tucking under so the lower back is long. We're going to come center maybe. I lost my train of thought there. Or extend the arms up toward the ceiling. Big breath. And then inhale, stretching to the ceiling. Exhale, releasing the arms. And from here, taking a nice step back with the right foot. Nice big step back. Let's turn the toes out to the corners a little, right? So when you bend your knees, you can see your toes and they're pointing in the same direction, right? So the knees aren't collapsed in, they're directly in line with your toes here. And that may need to change as we work. So let's just see what happens. Take your legs straight, extend the arms, make your body like a big X. And then super simple, on an exhale, bend your elbows and knees. And then inhale, bring it back up again. So just up and down with the upper body like this. Slow and controlled. Notice that you're even on your feet. Your belly's pulled in. See if you can make your body work precisely with the breath. And if you can go lower into your hips as you go, that's fine. But recognize you may need to open your feet a little wider as you go. We're going to go one more time. And then the next time you hit the spot, hold it. So you can hold upright with the elbows bent. You can stretch your arms out, right? Reaching away from the body. That may stretch up the inside of the arms. And if you'd like here, you can fold forward, bringing the shoulders and hands and head in line with the knees and hips-ish. Take one more breath. On the inhale, if you're down, hinge up. And then that next inhale, we stretch to the ceiling and release the arms. So from here, let's go ahead and turn the right toes in a little bit. Turn the left toes toward the top of the mat. We're going to bend into the left knee, find warrior two here. So looking for the big toe, right foot even, four corners, hips level, extending the arms. From our warrior two, let's take the left leg straight. We're going to stretch forward over those toes, reach away as far as you can, and then let your left hand fall and your right hand lift. So you can be leaning on the shin. You can, of course, have a block here available to you if you need. Make sure your belly is pulled in, shoulders stacked, and in line with the hips and ankles. So let's release that. Come over into a lunge. Up on the back toes. You can absolutely drop back down to the back knee here if you'd like. Let's take the left leg straight again. Squaring through the hips, make sure your belly is pulled in. And then we're going to add a little twist in here. So the right hand's going to stay put, right? You can absolutely prop on a block. Bring the left hand to your hip and rotate the belly around to the left. And then we're going to release that twist back into the lunge. So bend into the left knee. We're going to step back into down dog. Slide forward into plank. Check in with the shoulders, check in with the back, the belly, engage your legs. You can absolutely drop down to your knees here, but let's give it a try. Bend into the elbows, bring them in line with the ribs, hover, push back up, and into down dog again. So the kneeling variation of that is absolutely fine. So let's step the right foot forward. Work your toes to your fingers. We're dropping the back heel, lifting the upper body up, right? So if you landed perfectly lovely, if you need to adjust your feet, definitely do. You can see your right big toe. Left toes are pulled in a little bit. You're nice and even. Extend the arms for warrior two. Take the right leg straight. Reach forward of your toes and hinge over to your triangle. So let's go ahead and bring it over to lunge. Up on the back toes, maybe down on the back knee if that's where you need to be. Right leg straight. Take your time, adjust. Prop if you need to prop. And then let's twist it. So the left hand is going to stay where it is. The right hand will come to the hip, rotating around. Release the twist. Bend back into the knee and let's step back down dog. So one more time, we're going to shift forward into that plank position. Take knees if you need knees, certainly. Keep the legs nice and strong. Let's do it. Bend into the elbows, bring them halfway. Push back up into your down dog. And then let's go ahead and drop on down to the knees. Take child's pose. Nice full big breath. Move back to down dog. And we'll walk the feet forward, come to standing fold. So this time here, go ahead and take a little bend into the knees. With an inhale, we're going to roll the spine, come all the way up to standing. All right, so we're going to work with Warrior 3, and we're going to work with the whole body. So having the arms extended may be a little intense, right? So you can completely keep the arms out of it, 100%, right? But we want to keep the body in a nice long line. So sometimes we work the upper body more, sometimes we work the lower body more. We're going to work the whole body together. Just how much weight you have with your arms is where you can play, right? And you can always use them to support too, if that's where you need to be. So the belly's in, the spine is tall. I'm going to extend my arms, but remember they can stay down next to the sides of your body if that's where you need them to be. So we're going to shift the weight over into the left foot and take the right foot back just enough that you'll be able to swing it back here. And then as a unit, from the fingertips through the heel, start to hinge forward, lifting the leg behind. So if the leg can no longer lift, the upper body has to stop, right? And maybe you'll come parallel-ish to the floor, and maybe nothing like that. Remember, this is a lot of work. So just listen to your body and go where it goes. And again, the arms can be out of it, using the support of the thigh, just keeping the body in this nice long line. So we're going to take one more breath. And now you got to hinge back up. The body keeps in that same strong straight line. And then we switch to the second side. All right. So take your time, adjust where you need to adjust. Each side could be a little different. So let's see what happens here. All the way to the right, keeping that nice straight line, left foot back a bit, hinging forward. Make sure you're breathing, adjusting. And then hinging back up again and releasing it all. All right, so let's inhale, stretch the arms to the ceiling. Exhale, gently take yourself over into a fold. And then we'll step back into down dog. Drop on down to the knees and sit back in your child's pose. So from child's pose here, let's go ahead and slide forward and come out onto the belly. And we're going to be pretty much here on the belly for the rest of class. Well, almost, anyway. So while we're here, tailbone turning down toward the heels, lower back stays long. If you need to come out of this at any point, right, you can definitely gently sit back into a child's pose or whatever you need. Sometimes even just laying on the belly is a little bit much for the lower back. So make sure your lower back is not pinching, right, and uncomfortable. So we want to keep the tailbone tucked under. We're going to prop up on the elbows to start here. So elbows up underneath shoulders. And then we want to look for a neutral placement of the shoulders again, right? So we're not sagging through or letting the shoulders come forward, right? Just nice and neutral. Pressing down into the forearms as evenly as you can. And then you can create a little bit of space here by pulling your belly button between your elbows. And it's not actually going to come between your elbows, but it will create a little bit of length in the lower back especially. Maybe it opens up the chest a little bit more. Okay, lift you a little higher. Take another nice big breath. And then gently bring it back down again. So we're going to work toward that same position with the upper body, the upper torso, but working into cobra. Goodness. So hands next to the side ribs here. Right? Hug your elbows in. So the forearms are kind of hugging into your waist here. That draws your shoulders back pretty much all by itself, right? So we're going to incorporate what we did earlier, turning the tailbone down. Let's roll into our shoulders, just like we did at the very beginning of class, right? So you can feel the chest open and lift here already. Now adding in the arms a bit, don't get anxious and push. Pull like you're pulling your belly button forward, just like we did in that little Sphinx position. The elbows are going to stay in, the shoulders are going to stay down and back. Keep the pull, but now see if you can press a bit into the hands. Feel your triceps. Notice what's going on in your upper back. Your chest is open. Your triceps should be working. The tailbone's turning down. Let's release it back down. So let's work that one more time. Right? So the toes stay on the floor, tailbone stays turning toward the heels, the elbows are in, we roll our shoulders, pull with the hands, and maybe press with the hands, keeping the elbows at the waist. So think about where your shoulders are, think about this nice, beautiful curve in your back, and then release that back down. So let's take the hands and make a little pillow for the head. Turn your toes to point toward each other, and then just kind of rock a little bit on your back, right? Shake that out. And if that was intense enough, if that was enough work, that's where you're going to stay for now. But maybe we can go just a little bit deeper. So let's bring the hands next to the side ribs again. We're going to hug the elbows in. Same exact thing. Everything else is the same exact. So you want the hands far enough back. Then when you roll the shoulders, pull with the hands, press with the hands. The shoulders can stay back. Maybe you can keep all that and press all the way so that your arms are almost straight. Don't lock your elbows, right? And just rely on the bones, because then the shoulders come forward. We don't want them forward. We want them back. So a little baby bend in the elbows. Lift your chest, tuck your tailbone. If you're feeling it, maybe lift your thigh. And then gently release all of that back down again. Make the little pillow, rock back and forth on your hips. Take a little mini break. And then we're going to work into locust, right? So no arms. Right? And either way, one isn't any easier necessarily than another. But we're going to make this a little bit more challenging as we go, maybe, right? So we're going to keep the toes on the floor. Right? Sometimes in locust, we engage the whole body. Today, we're just going to work with the upper body. So let's take the arms down by your sides. And they can simply stay down by the sides, or you can interlace them behind your lower back if you're feeling that today. Tailbone stays tucked. We do just like we did with cobra. We're going to roll our shoulders up, down, or back and down, lifting the chest. So the fingertips are going to stretch back toward the heels. The crown of the head extends. You're breathing. And if you rise and fall with your breath, because you're breathing into your belly, right? That might happen. You rise and fall. Take one more big breath. And then gently release that back down. Make your little pillow. Take that little rest again. And then we're going to add on. So again, you can absolutely have your arms back down by your sides, right? That might be plenty intense. Otherwise, they're going to stay up here with the palms kind of stacked on one another. And then rest your forehead on your palms. So now your forehead is glued to your palms, which means if your head lifts, your hands have to come too, right? Everything else is exactly the same as we've been. So you ground your feet, you tuck your tailbone, we roll our shoulder blades, shoulders, and curl away from the floor. So now you have the extra added weight of the arms. You can always change your mind. Okay? Hands attached to the head, elbows are wide, you're breathing, you might be rising and falling with your breath. And then we release back down. So of course here, there's one more option. The arms down by your sides. You got the little folded pillow, or extend the arms out long in front. And your palms can face each other, they can face the floor, whatever makes more sense to your brain and keeps your shoulders happy, go for it. So tailbone tucking, feet are on the floor. If the head lifts, the arms have to come too, otherwise they're not heavy. So wherever the arms are, roll into your shoulders, curling away from the floor. So arms in line with the ears, you can come back to forehead or fingertips on the forehead. You can extend the arms back down by your sides. The lift is different, the work is different. Make sure you can breathe, everything's long and happy. And then we're going to release back down again. So make your little pillow, turn your toes toward each other, and rock a little bit on your hips. So then we have one more on the belly, right? And mostly it's just to get us over onto our backs, but it has to be fun, right? So, so take your arms down by your sides. We're going to bend the knees. Take your hands and find your feet. So you may be able to only do one side at a time. That's totally fine. I had to grab one side at a time, so that's completely normal. And then turn the tailbone toward the knees so that the lower back stays nice and long here. Great quad stretch. Draw the shoulder blades together on your back, down toward your hip bone so your chest curls away from the floor, just like before. Hang on to your feet. You can flex them maybe a little easier to hang on that way. And then kick your heels away from your hips and lift your thighs if you want to lift your thighs. So just like with locust, you may rise and fall with the breath. So come on down, but hang on to your feet if you can. We're going to do that again and add on and again, just make it a little bit playful. So hang on to your feet, roll through your shoulders, take your feet away from your hips. You can lift your thighs. Don't worry about high necessarily this time. Keep the tailbone turning towards your knees and roll yourself over to the left. And then back to the middle and over to the right. So let's do that again. Back to the left. You can use momentum this way, right? Through the middle to the right. One more time like that on each side. When you're back over to your right again, release your feet, roll back over onto your back. And then yes, you'll have to scoot back to your mat. And once you're back there, just rest, right? So find an aligned place. Your spine is long and neutral. Your shoulders can rest back. Take a second in this middle space. And then if they're all ready, take your feet flat to the floor. And we'll gently pull the knees into the chest and rock. Nice and easy here. So let's take the feet flat to the floor then. Again, finding that neutral spine. And we want to really work to keep the spine neutral as we take the right leg straight up to the ceiling-ish. So of course here you can use a strap behind the thigh. You can use a strap across the ball mound of your foot. You can just interlace your fingers behind your thigh. The idea is to keep the shoulders down. So you don't want to be reaching for your toes and have the shoulders lift because then that C curves your spine and you don't want that, right? So keeping that where it is, with an exhale, we're going to pull the right leg in toward the chest a bit. And then inhale and let it go just a little bit. So just a gentle in and out. And we really want to work to keep the spine neutral on the mat. So if you find, again, that you're kind of rounding up to make this happen, see if you can flatten out with the back. And maybe the leg doesn't come in as much, doesn't matter. So let's take just a couple more like that, in and out. And then we want to find a middle, right? So the spine can be nice and neutral. The leg is straight, ideally in line with the hip here. So it's kind of stacked. We're going to extend the left arm out to the left. Keep the back exactly as it is on the floor. Support the outside of your leg with your right hand, and then start to let that leg fall to the right. So right before your left hip starts to lift up, stop. And support the leg with the right hand. So it can relax open to the side, and you don't have that pulling in the inner hip. Let's take another big breath. And then we're going to come back to center. Take this right leg across your body and then place the foot somewhere near your left hand. Doesn't have to be in it, it's just over there. Extending the right arm back out to the right. Letting your spine release. Of course, the right hip is going to come up off the floor. Try to rest your right shoulder back. Just take another nice big breath here. Bending at this right knee if you feel like you need to first. Make your way back up to the middle. And then we'll take both feet flat. If you got a little crooked, realign for sure. So once you have that alignment, we're going to extend the left leg. Again, up to the ceiling-ish. Strap if you want to strap for sure. And then keeping the spine neutral, work that left leg in and out. Connected to the breath, nice, easy, gentle movements. Doesn't have to be big and fancy. Working this leg in. Once more in and out, really bring it in as much as you can with that neutral spine. And then find the middle again, extend the right arm out to the right, glue that side of your body to the floor. Support the leg as you drop it out to the left. Take your time and notice when the weight starts to shift to the left a little bit. Stop, right? And you may find if you stop and hold for a second and realign, that maybe you can open up a little bit deeper. But again, let the weight of the leg rest into the hands so you can really release into this inner hip here. Let's bring it back up to center. Take that foot across the body and place it somewhere near your right hand. Relax the leg to the side so it may or may not be in the hand. Take the left arm, reach it back, relax your shoulder. And we'll take another nice big breath here. And again, bending at the left knee first if you'd like. Bring it back to center. And then release the legs. Neutralize the spine again. Draw the knees in and let yourself rock a little bit. Shake it out. And then squeeze the knees into the chest as tight as you can get. Pull the forehead toward the knees. Round up through your spine as much as you can. And then release it out into a full body stretch. Really long, fingertips to toes. And then release the stretch and let your arms come down by your sides. So take a moment and remember you are home. So if you have a prop that you want to use it. Right? Find a comfy spot on the floor, legs extended or knees bent. You can prop. You can come to a seated position, maybe with your back up against a wall. Make this yours. Once you've found that position, allow the muscles to relax. Release control of your breath. But see if you can stay focused on it, keeping your mind present and quiet, giving yourself just a few minutes to rest deeply here. Gently draw in a deep cleansing breath, and then let that all go. Starting small, allow your body to wiggle, move, and stretch. When you're ready, take the feet flat to the floor. Gently roll yourself to the side, and then use your arms to slowly make your way back up to seated. And draw the palms to touch, bowing to the light within. Namaste. Thanks for coming to play, you guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you took that full 5-ish minutes for Shavasana. Remember, you can always take Shavasana. And you can always hit the website up and do those little 5-minute meditations or the 5-minute pranayama that I put up. You can take more classes. If I don't see you before, I will see you next week. And again, if this time slot is funky or whatever, please give me a holler. I am flexible, right? As are you now, right? Thanks, Diane. Pam. Pam, no watching, doing. All right, you guys, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time. Be safe. Bye.